let's try this again. Hey, Loc babe. So today I wanted to finally share my NICU story. This has been a long time coming. I gave birth 5 months ago, and I just needed time. I needed time to come to grips with what happened. I needed time to surrender. I needed time to process. I needed time to heal. I needed time to parent a newborn. Sabi's just waking up, so she might have to join us in this video. But I just needed time. But I wanted to let you guys know like what happened and the details of it all, just to go through it in case anybody else out there is going through a situation like this or needs support in any capacity. I feel like I do want to have a community here of NICU moms and moms who have gone through traumatizing birthing stories, because it's not easy. You know, everybody's story doesn't look like, oh, my water broke, I'm going to the hospital, and I come home with baby. You know, say hi. Look, say hi. Say hi. No? Okay. She's so hungry. She'll say hi to you guys later. Okay. Yeah, I really want this video to be as supportive as possible to anyone who has experienced this. So I did try to record this video already and it didn't pan out. So I realized that I don't need a script. I'm just gonna go from my memory and what I know, and I will be adding pictures and little video snippets within the video so you guys can actually see what I am referring to in some of the moments, okay? So yeah, so October 3rd, I had a slice of pizza. By October 4th, yeah, it made me super sick and I was constipated. Like all morning, I had terrible cramps, terrible pains, and I just didn't know what to do. So I ended up calling, my doctor, and she told me to get some Miralax. So my husband got some Miralax. He was at work, so he sent it to me via Instacart because I was in so much pain I couldn't even drive. He sent me, what's happening? You're already eating. He sent me Instacart, Miralax through Instacart. So I took the Miralax, and not even 10 minutes of taking it, I began to profusely vomit, like violently volatile vomit for the next 12 hours. I thought I was going to die. I was petrified for the baby. I'm just thinking about how this has to be uncomfortable for her, because every time I would throw up, I would feel her kick. And yeah, you were there, right? And I was just so scared. I was vomiting so bad. I told my husband, like, this is bad. I don't know what to do. I'm like dehydrated too. He also sent me some Powerade. I'm drinking the Powerade. I'm throwing up. It was just really bad. So I contacted my doctor again, and she told me that if it gets, you know, any worse, like just give it a few hours, let it set, let the medicine do its thing. And if it gets any worse by the morning, to go to urgent care, because this was on a Saturday. So obviously her office is not open on a Sunday. So the vomiting, like I said, it lasted for 12 hours. So I think it started actually at 4 o'clock, not 5 o'clock. So 4 a.m. was the first time I felt any type of relief. So now it's Sunday, October 5th, 4 a.m. And I'm like, oh my gosh, the vomiting is done. I felt so weak. I felt lethargic. I felt dehydrated. But I think my body was finally like, whatever was in that pizza or whatever happened to me is finally out. I was so excited. Uh-oh. You okay? You okay? Sorry guys, completely lost my train of thought. I was vomiting. Yes, so 4 a.m. was when I finally got relief, and I'm like, oh my gosh, the vomiting is done. I can finally go to sleep. So I went to sleep for 3 hours. 7 a.m. I woke up and I was like, okay, I feel better, and it's time to go on with the day. So this same Sunday, we had a family maternity shoot scheduled for 2 p.m. And I wanted to take it with the twins and my husband. So we were so excited for this photo shoot. And I was like, okay, I should be okay by this afternoon. So we were going to go to church, leave early, and then head over to the photo shoot and get dressed and everything there. I had a makeup artist that I was supposed to go see beforehand and then go to the photo shoot, right? Okay, so it's 7:15, 7:20 now. I'm like, okay, I'm going to get out of bed. I'm going to shower. I'm going to do all the things. So when I was going to get out of the bed, I realized that I peed the bed. So I'm like, oh my gosh, did I just pee myself? I just peed in the bed. How come I didn't feel this, right? So I go to the bathroom. I clean myself up. And you would say hi now? You say hi? I clean myself up. I wake my husband up because he's sleeping in the bed. And I'm like, hey, I peed the bed. You got to get up. So I take all the covers and sheets off. I put everything in the laundry. I make everything new. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to just go in the shower. Let me just go in the shower. Maybe the shower will help me. Whatever. I go in the shower. I come out the shower. I sit back down in the bed. Now the twins are awake and I'm telling them what happened. We're laughing. It's hilarious. As I'm laughing with them, I pee the bed again. So I'm like, you know what? I'm starting to think that this isn't pee anymore. Let me call my doctor. So I call my doctor. I tell her about the events of the weekend and what's happening. And she's like, Jen, you might have to go to the hospital. So guys, the hospital that I wanted to deliver in was basically Disney World. It was Disney World for moms, okay? All the luxury stuff you can think about, all the care, the little touches. I was finally going to get all of that. And I'm coming from a place of having a traumatizing birthing story from my twins almost 16 years ago. So I'm just thinking about, hey, the hospital that's closest to me, I do not like their OBGYN office at all. At all. It's just trash. And I'm just like, I did everything in my efforts last year to make sure I did not deliver there. So my doctor told me that. I'm like, no, you know how I feel about this place. And she's like, I know, but you know our hospital doesn't have a NICU. And we can't deliver the baby unless you're 36 weeks. So you're still 34 weeks right now. You're 34 and 4, so you'll have to go. And I'm like, no, please. Like, I'm literally crying on the phone with her right now. She's like, worst case scenario, which would also be a best case scenario, we'll have a baby today. But best case scenario for your feelings, maybe they'll monitor you for a couple of days and send you home, but you'll have to be on bed rest for the next 2 weeks until we're able to deliver the baby safely. So I was like, fine, deal. Maybe it's, maybe it's a false alarm. Maybe something's happening and I'll just get to go home and just be on bed rest. This bow is so big for her head. You are so cute. You are so cute. Yes, you are. Just got my lip liner on her face. Anyway, so I tell my husband, I was like, we have to go. We have to go to the hospital. I'm crying now because I'm just like, I'm pissed off. So he's like, okay, just get dressed. I'm trying to get dressed. And as I'm getting dressed, water is just still trickling down my legs. So I'm just like, this is my water that's broken. So now I'm like crying because now I know there's not going to be a sending home and come back in 2 weeks ready to deliver at my said hospital. I'm going to have an emergency C-section, which is what I had with my twins, with the whole medical team that does not know me, does not know my history. They'll have to get it over from the other hospital and then just do what they want to do. So I was, you okay? Yes, you okay? You're just hungry? So I was super upset about it. So we're in the car. I'm crying the whole way there. We get there. I'm upset. I'm crying. Mind you, it's also about 5 weeks early. I did not pack my hospital bag. Actually, I just got my hospital bag a couple days before, like the actual bag to pack. The bag was still in the box. I never opened the Amazon box to get the bag out to put anything in the box because I thought I had time. So if you're watching now, just know you don't have time. I would suggest you pack that bag maybe 2 months early if you can. Maybe by 30 weeks, just pack the bag. 30 weeks, pack it, just in case. So yeah, we get to the hospital. I just threw things in the bag, random stuff, whatever. And my husband tells the ballet person, like, oh, my wife, her water broke. She's in labor. So the girl is like, okay, come this way. So he's like pushing me fast in a wheelchair. And I'm just sitting in a wheelchair like this. Because I'm furious now. Like, I don't want to be here. I didn't sign up for this. I wanted to go back to the Disney World Hospital. Not this. So we get to the place that she's telling us to go to check in. We go there. There's literally nobody in there. But there is this lady on the phone. And she was like, yeah, so last weekend I did this, I did this, I did this. Did you get that fax I sent you? So clearly it's a coworker who she's just chit-chatting with while she's like, I guess, supposedly doing work. So, hi. So my husband tells her like, hi, like my wife's water broke. And she's like, okay, 1 minute. So she's talking to this lady, whatever. She's going on and on and on and on and on. And then my husband is like, hi, my wife's water is broken. So I look at him and I was like, this is exactly why I didn't want to come here. So she's like, okay, is it scheduled? And I'm like, no, it's not scheduled. I'm 34 weeks pregnant. And she's like, okay, hold on. She finishes her conversation. I kid you not. She finishes her conversation. Then she hangs up and she's like, what's your name? Okay. Do you see a doctor here? And I'm like, no. So I give her my information. I tell her the doctors that I see. And she's like, let me call upstairs. So she calls upstairs. She gives them my name, my information. And then they ask her, the person's talking loud on the phone. So they're like, well, how far along is she? Yes. And she's like, how far along are you? And I say 34 weeks. And the person is like, get her upstairs right now. Like, we can hear them audibly yelling on the phone, get her upstairs right now. So she said, oh, okay. So she hangs up and she goes, oh, guys, come this way. So I'm like, okay, so now she's rushing. Because, it wasn't an emergency before. My water just broke and I'm just here in a wheelchair. I'm just in active labor, but it wasn't an emergency before. So we get upstairs and now the nurses are actually doing what they're supposed to do. Not like the receptionist downstairs. So they're rushing us. They rush us over to a triage thing. And they're like, we're going to check to make sure that your water is broken and everything. Hi. Yes. I talking about you. So I get us in a room or whatever. And I'm just like, oh, I have to use the bathroom. So they take me to the bathroom. They bring me back. And then they add, they put all the monitors and stuff on me. So I would insert pictures and stuff with the monitors there and some pictures that I took. When I tell you, I was praying. I'm like, God, I already know my water's broken. There's no way they're sending me home. But Lord, I need you to please come through with this medical team. The medical team that I had almost 16 years mishandled me so bad. I just turned 20 when I had my girls. They mishandled me so bad. I felt so taken advantage of. I do not want that to be my experience now. Like I planned this pregnancy. Like, sorry, babe. We planned this pregnancy. We planned this time. Like everything was planned. So to have this happen, I was just not okay. But I'm sitting in the bed just praying down this room that God, please take control of the medical team that's going to help deliver this baby, because I just need you to show up, Lord. So of course they confirmed my water is broken and we will be having the baby today. So we tell the girls like, hey, the twins, hey, I guess your sister is coming today. So they're like, oh my gosh, what? So I text everybody who I was supposed to text and let them know like, hey, my water broke. I'm in the hospital. This is what's happening. So everyone's like, oh my gosh, like what happened? All these type of things. So this part always cracks me up just thinking about it. I haven't retold this story since it happened. So this is just like, when I think about this and I'm saying it out loud now, it's going to sound ridiculous because it is. But if you guys know me, you also know how I operate. So anyway, as I'm in active labor and they're waiting for an OR room, I'm like, oh wait, we have things to do today. I have to let people know like we can't do them. So then I text the makeup artist, hey, I'm actually in active labor right now, so I need to reschedule my makeup. And he's like, oh my gosh, there's that. Then I text the photographer, hey, I'm in active labor, so I'm not able to make the photo shoot. And I text all my clients, hey guys, I'm in active labor. So everybody's appointments who were scheduled, this week and onward through my maternity leave, I'm sorry I won't be able to do your hair. I'm really sending out these messages while I'm in active labor, strapped to the bed like the monitor, with my legs up, and I'm texting and emailing. So again, it's comical now to think about it, but I just had to make sure everybody knew, I just had to make sure like all my T's were crossed and all my I's were dotted. So that's what I did. So after that, I kept praying. And then I'm like, all right, they're like, okay, we're just getting the OR room ready for you. You're going to come meet the anesthesiologist and the doctor's going to come who's going to be delivering the baby and all these things. So the anesthesiologist comes in. It was a man and a woman. So they're talking to me. I'm like, okay, yep, all the stuff. Okay, fine. And then I'm just like, God, please. So then a woman comes in. And well, the nurses that were coming in were wonderful. Top tier. Everybody was delightful. Everybody was wonderful. Everybody wanted to be at work and everybody liked what they did. So I already felt like You want the rest of your papa? I already felt like God was looking out for me because although that lady downstairs couldn't have cared less if my water broken up, here you go. Everybody upstairs came to do their big one at work that day. And it was a Sunday. So, you know, Sunday is like the skeleton crew. Everybody was lovely. So the doctor came in. This black lady came in and she's like, hi, I'm Doctor, her name. And she's like, I'm going to be in your case today. I was like, wait a second. Are you the delivering doctor? And she said, I am. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy that you're black. She says to me, I'm so happy that you're black too. And my husband is like, oh my gosh. So we just look at him and we just laugh. We're like, he doesn't get it. When I tell you guys, I'm so overjoyed now. Because the fact that we're having black and brown people in the OR room, absolutely yes. I was ecstatic, right? So she says, yeah, I'll be your doctor. Do you have any questions? I'm like, oh, the Lord answered my prayers. Now I'm so happy. I told her the things with my C-section, like what my doctor and I spoke about and things. And she's like, I will do everything that your doctor was going to do. So I'm like, wow, like God, thank you, Lord. Thank you for coming and for rescuing me. Like even in this situation right now where nothing is going as planned, like you still love me, Lord. So they whisked me into the OR room. I don't know why I'm saying OR room instead of just OR, because I'm saying operating room. That's like when people say chai tea. You're saying TT. Anyway, what are you saying? So we get into the OR. Room is freezing cold. And they wheel me to the bed. I sit on the bed. And they're like, okay, everybody's coming in who's supposed to be in there. And I look around and I'm like, wait a second. Everybody's a woman? So they also looking around. They were like, yeah, we have all women in here today. So I was like, yes, girl power. So everybody's laughing in there. When I tell you, it was like a beautiful sight. We had obviously the black doctor in there. She had an Indian assistant with her. The nurses in there were Hispanic and Caucasian. Like the anesthesiologist was Caucasian. The main nurse was Hispanic. Every walk of life was in this OR room. I felt so blessed. I'm like, wow, this is a beautiful representation of exactly what I wanted to see. Nothing against men who are in the operating rooms for birthing stuff. But for this to be unplanned, I felt like God had a plan for me. And I just felt so good about it. So okay, I'm all happy. Everything's happening. They put the epidural in my bag. Obviously, that sucked. It's always going to suck. And now everything's going numb. They bring my husband in. I'm like, okay. So as soon as they get me, like, my blood pressure monitored and all that type of stuff, I'm like, I feel so sick. And they're like, what's happening? Like, are you okay? I'm like, no, I just feel so sick. So they bring me, like, a little vomiting tray thing. And I'm like, what's that for? Next thing I know, I'm like, whoa, throwing up. Never happened to me before. Well, it didn't happen to me with my twins. And I'm like, oh, why am I throwing up? And they're like, oh, sometimes that happens with the anesthesia. Blah, throwing up. My husband is there, like, holding my arm, but he's just like, yo, this is crazy. Like, he's rubbing my head and everything. Like, he was so sweet. But I could tell by his eyes he was scared. So now they're like, okay, we're going to start. So they start my surgery. They start the C-section. So they're doing everything. Again, even during the surgery, I'm still throwing up. And I'm like, oh, my gosh. Oh. So doing all of that, I actually requested for them to have a clear drape. I didn't know you can do this. This must be a new thing. So when they get to the part when the baby's arriving, you can actually see the baby through the drape. So I was like, okay. So when they got to the part, they're like, okay, Mom, are you ready to see? And I was like, yeah. So they pulled the blue drape down and they're like, okay, you're going to feel pressure. So there's pressure. And I'm like, oh, I can just feel pressure. It doesn't hurt. And they're like, all right. And then we heard nothing. And then we heard, ah! So they're like, oh, it's a beautiful baby girl. So they put her up to the clear thing. And everybody's like, oh, yay, happy birthday. And the first thing I say, I'm like, again, anesthesia, I'm just laying like this. I'm like, why she look like that? I was out of it, but I was so concerned. And I'm like, babe, why she look like that? And they're like, oh, no, she's okay. She's just having a little trouble breathing. All I saw when they put up to the clear thing was a purple baby. She was purple. And I was so confused, like, why is she purple? Like, what is happening? So she had a little trouble breathing coming out. So that's why she was purple. But they worked on her in the corner a little bit. And they brought her back to me so I could see that she's not like purple anymore. And then they said, okay, she has to go upstairs to the NICU. So I already told my husband, if something happens where they need to separate the two of us, go with the baby. Go with the baby, okay? So he was like, okay. He's like, babe, what do I do? I was like, go with the baby. So he goes with the baby. And I'm like in there now, like, okay. So now they're going to, they're closing me up and do all the things. I don't know how many minutes passed by, but I look up. My husband came back. And I was like, why aren't you with the baby? And he's like, I went with the baby. Now I'm going to be here with you. And I was like, what? No, go with the baby. And he's like, no, I'm going to be here with you. So I was like, oh, I'm like, this is the best husband in the world, bro. So I'm still out of it. I'm still throwing up. And now they're still doing everything. So again, I don't know the time. I can see the clock is up there, but I'm not getting a grasp of like the timing of everything. But all I say is, and I think I'm whispering, I'm like, babe, why are we still in here? This is taking too long. And obviously I'm not whispering so everybody hears me. So he was like, shh, babe, like, you're okay? I was like, no, this is taking much longer than it's supposed to. So I asked the doctor, I was like, what's happening? What happened? What's the matter? So I asked the doctor what's happening. And she was like, we're just suctioning. You're actually losing more blood than we thought. And I was like, see? So anyway, they're suctioning, they're trying to get everything back in there together. And I'm like trying not to like panic because I don't want my heart rate to go up. And it's a surgery, they're not done. But anyway, instead of it taking like, when they, obviously the whole thing takes, okay. What is happening? You want to see the people? No? You said no to them? You liked rocking. What happened? You want to sit like this? You don't want mama talking to them? No? You want me only talking to you? Yes. Where's all your toys? Your toys are over there. You want your ball? I'm gonna go get it. Oh, okay. Let's put our feet up too. Okay. Ooh. Okay. Uh-oh. Okay. So, yeah. So, obviously, time in and time out of the OR, that's a lot of more time. But time for the particular surgery, that's different. So, I'm like, this, from opening my body till closing shouldn't be more than an hour. It's usually they're about 45 minutes or so, right? For the procedure itself. It shouldn't take that long. Baby, we were at 2 hours now. So I was like, this is taking way longer than it's supposed to. And they're like, yeah, again, you're losing a little bit more blood than we thought. All I can keep hearing is suction, 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 suction. I'm like, oh my gosh, what's happening? I feel lightheaded here. Suction, 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 whatever. They finally closed me up and I'm just like, this was rough. So how they do it is one of the nurses that were in there with me, this nurse will stay with me for the next 6 hours or so in the room that they had for us until I get moved to their maternity ward. So she was born, they took her to the NICU. She was born at 2:05 p.m. And yeah, so they finally take me over there and I'm like, okay, can I finally have something to eat or something to drink now? Because now I have a little bit of an appetite, but I feel so lightheaded. So the doctor shares with me that I lost almost double the amount of blood that I was supposed to. So they told me that they're going to give me things to build my iron back up, and then I might have to stay in the hospital an additional day. Let's find something else for you to play with. Why'd you throw that? You gonna play softball? We gotta find something else, because that went far, girl. That went pretty far. I may have to stay an extra day for them just to keep an eye on me or whatever. Okay, the nurse I had again was delightful. We go to the maternity ward. Okay, great. The first day in there, the next day was pretty good. I had a really good nurse around the clock for the first 24 hours. I got to go to the NICU. I got to see the baby. And I'm like, oh my gosh. She was 5 pounds, 4 ounces, 16 inches. And she was so cute, but she was so little. And I'm like, wow, she played me. She has my husband's whole face. And she still does. Still very much does. But I was like, wow, she had a head full of hair. Her hair was very thick and very curly. And I'm like, she's beautiful. She's so little. Oh, whatever. And they're like, oh, she's going to do great. She's actually the biggest baby in the NICU right now because she's 5 pounds and 4 ounces. So she shouldn't be in here more than, shouldn't be in here super long. They're not going to tell me when. Because they don't tell you when you leave the NICU. So she shouldn't be in here super long. So I was like, okay, great. So again, you have a C-section. You're in the hospital for 4 or 5 days. I stayed for almost 6 days, I think. I stayed 6 days. So the second day was when all hell broke loose. So the nurses that I had the second day were horrible. Horrible. And I don't know how much time I'm going to spend talking about the nurses. I'm going to definitely put some videos in here. But when I tell you that they were rough, they were rude. One of the nurses completely forgot about my medicine. She told me that I need to be weaning it off. This is the day after I just had a C-section. And I was in incredible amounts of pain. My pain tolerance is already super low. And I don't particularly like taking medicines. But my pain tolerance, but the pain I went through was unnecessary. She allowed me to go through unnecessary pain because she believed that I still shouldn't be in pain. And I actually had to call one of the doctors in the room to get at her. And he had to yell at her and tell her that she's not allowed to tell me if I'm in pain or not. And I love that doctor was also a Black doctor. I had all the doctors in the world, all the minorities in the world sticking up for me. But a nurse actually saw that I was in pain and saw like my blood pressure was rising. And some other nurse came in. She came in the wrong room, actually. And she's like, you okay? And I was like, oh, no, I'm in pain. She's like, where's your nurse? And I was like, I don't know. But she's like, she won't give me my medicine. And she's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I've asked her. I told her I was in pain and she wouldn't give me my medicine. And she's like, she's not supposed to do that. And I'm like, I know. Like, I need to call somebody else. So she's the one that actually went and got the Black doctor, who happened to be from Ghana, where my husband is from. And he wasn't playing about me. So he was like, you are not allowed to do that. You need to give her the pain medicine that we prescribed for her on the time that she's supposed to get it. Whatever. I had a whole in and out with that lady. My husband even asked the doctor, like, can we change nurses? Because this is ridiculous. So this little beau is cracking me up. Anyway, she ended up leaving, not being a nurse anymore. And they sent somebody else who I thought was better. Because now they sent in a Caribbean lady who, again, I'm from Barbados. I forgot where she was from. But she was like, oh, where's your mother? And who was in here helping you? You're supposed to be having your aunties and them in here helping to wash and clean and help you get up and drink coconut water and all the things. I was like, oh my gosh, this feels like my mom is here with me. I would have loved that. This is perfect. She was like, come on, we're going to wash you good. We're going to change your sheets. We're going to change this and change that. And, you got to start walking and what you had to eat. Because, you have to build back up the blood that you lost. And it was perfect. We had a great morning until the nighttime came. Every nurse that is there, they're there for 12 hours. So the nighttime came and I guess she just decided she didn't want to work no more. So I told her, hey, I was pumping and everything, so you have to go and give the milk upstairs to the NICU. And while I'm upstairs in the NICU, I visit the baby. So I told her, like, hey, this is day 2 now. The day 2, 48 hours after I just had Savi. I tell her, hey, I want to pump, but when I go upstairs to pump, when I pump my milk, I want to go upstairs and I'm going to stay with her for at least 2 hours before I go back down. And she was like, oh, that's not a problem. I'm going to have to call somebody to bring you a wheelchair to get you up there, because she was really small. She was like, I don't know if I could push you in a wheelchair. I'm like, okay, fair, whatever. So she calls an assistant or whatever, like one of the PCAs to come and take me. Girl comes, smells like a whole pack of Newport. I'm not impressed. I'm like, this girl stinks and this is awful. So she ends up wheeling me upstairs to the NICU. So my nurse told me, when you're ready, tell the nurses to page me and I'll have somebody to come get you, or I'll come get you. Okay, whatever. I take my milk upstairs. I have the best time ever with Savi. I'm watching her. I'm feeding her. just bonding time. It was just great. And now I'm like, okay, I went at night. So I went at, I think it was 10 o'clock at night, and I stayed until 12. So around 12:15, I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go down now. It's after midnight. Like, I want to go back to my bed, and I should be getting my medicine around like 12:30. So I tell the nurses in NICU, I'm like, hey, can you call my nurse? And they're like, oh yeah, we'll call her now. Nurses in NICU, amazing. So they call her. She doesn't answer. Like 20 minutes goes by, and the nurse is like, your nurse still didn't come back here? The NICU nurse. Actually, it was Sabi's nurse. So I'm like, no, she didn't come back. She's like, I'll call her again. So she called her again, and she spoke to her, and she goes, okay, I'm on my way. Another 10 minutes go by. So she texts her, and she goes, hey, where are you? Like, your patient is waiting to go back downstairs. So I asked her, I'm like, are you able to take me downstairs? And she's like, I'm sorry, I'm not. Like, we're only nurses to the babies. God forbid anything happened to you. We can't be held liable because we're not, the nurses for the moms. And I was like, okay, well, can anybody take me downstairs? Can security take me downstairs? And she's like, unfortunately, no. Your nurse has to bring you downstairs, or they have to send someone specifically for you to take you back downstairs. I'm like, okay. Y'all, a whole nother hour goes by. It's like 1-something in the morning now. This lady's still not here. It's almost 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm still waiting for this lady. I had to go rogue. So I have a video that I'm going to insert here, and I'm still debating if I'm going to say the name of the hospital. I'm going kind of back and forth about it, but I might just do it anyway, because this needs to be out. And I did reach out to for them to investigate all this stuff, and they emailed me back and told me they'll investigate, and I never heard back from them. So I think I might out them. Anyway, I decided to go rogue, and I'm like, hey, I gotta leave. So all the nurses that were in the NICU happened to be, you okay? Happened to be in the room with their babies. So no one was in the hallway, and I was just sitting there in a wheelchair. So I took a towel and I rolled it up and I held it across my stomach. So now I just had a C-section. If you ever had a C-section, comment down in the comments below if you ever had a C-section and you try to cough, you try to pass gas, you try to laugh, you try to do anything. 2 days after, tell me how it felt. So here I am now trying to walk. I get up, excruciating pain, and I literally go and touch the walls all the way down the hall to the elevator. So long story short, I escaped, right? I escaped. I get out the double doors for the NICU. I get to the elevator. I go downstairs in the elevator. I come out of that hall, and I hear in the overhead, whatever their alert is, a patient is missing. And I'm on the wall. Like I'm scaling the walls to get back down. I'm like, oh, that's probably for me. Because they are like, I left the whole wheelchair. I can't take the wheelchair now. I can't push myself. And I'm here. I left. So I hear it again. Whatever code alert, the patient, whatever is missing or whatever they said. And now I get to the maternity ward now. So the security is there. She looks up at me and she's like, where's your nurse? And I'm like, nobody came upstairs and got me. She's like, you weren't supposed to do that. And I'm like, look, it is 2 o'clock in the morning. I sat upstairs for an additional 2 hours in pain. I didn't have my medicine. If you don't let me through this door right now, you're going to be in trouble too. So she opened the door for me. She pressed the button quick. And she's like, but I'm still going to tell your nurse. I said, tell whoever you need to tell, because I'm going to tell too. So now I get down the hall. I get back to my room. My nurse is literally in the hallway, keying it up with another nurse, laughing and everything. When she looked back and she saw my face, it looked like she saw a ghost. She was like, oh my gosh, why are you in the hallway? I was like, don't say anything to me. Because now I'm furious. So now I go into my room. When I finally sit down on my bed, I just start crying. I am bawling my eyes out. I'm in pain. I am exhausted. I can't believe I just walked from the 10th floor, took the elevator down to the 8th floor, and walked down that long hallway. I had to walk myself back to the maternity room 2 days after having a C-section. Like, you know how long this walk is? They want you to walk to the bathroom on day 2. Maybe walk down the hall once and they'll come get you. You're not traveling through the hospital into different departments 2 days after your C-section. So I am livid now. And she's like, oh, no one called me. No one told me. I was like, you're a liar, because she showed me the messages and I was sitting next to her when she called you. This is your phone. And I'm going off. And I was like, I don't want you in here anymore. I need another nurse. I don't want you in here anymore. She was like, oh, you're overdue for your medicine. I was like, I know I'm overdue. And you didn't care because you didn't get me. You just left me up there to die. I'm going in. So somebody else, another nurse, her nurse manager comes in and talks to me like, hey, what happened? I'm like, I found a report. This is craziness. I can't believe this. Like, all this stuff. This lady comes back in, because now the shift's about to end too. This is hours later. I'm just like, leave me alone. I want to go to sleep. I don't trust her. I don't want her in here. I close my door. Like, I don't want her to come back in here. I don't want her next to me at all. She comes back in there and tells me, this never happened to me before. And I don't know what happened because they never called me and I never got the page number and all this type of stuff. But I know that you love coconut water. So I done went all the way down to this special store for you to get you a organic coconut water. So I'm going to leave it here by your bedside. And just know that I am so sorry and nothing like this will ever happen again. It can't happen again because I'm never coming back here to have a baby again. Like, God, God, please. Like, I don't know if another baby is in the cards for us, but I won't be back. And if there's an emergency, somebody's not leaving me the whole time. So anyway, I was just broken up about it. I was sad. I was so disappointed about it. And I'm going to insert a video here too because I have a whole video of me walking down the hall, of me walking back to my room, and I have audio of me recording that nurse telling me this whole thing about the coconut water and how she's never done this. So this is literally me after waiting in that room for over an hour and just had my C-section yesterday, walking myself back downstairs to the 8th floor because my nurse did not send anybody up to get me after 3 messages that was ready to be picked up. I look, literally, I'm using this towel to push in on my C-section just so I can go back to my room because I'm in pain and I am exhausted. I don't want to talk to nobody else for the rest of the night. I'm not going to hear her out. I just want to be left alone and lay down. That's part 2 of my journey. I'm on the 8th floor. I spoke to the girl at the desk. And I'm trying to get back to my room.
You need to empty your bladder too?
No, I just need to.
Okay. Let me get you through. When she said if they see the wheelchair, they don't see you. I'm like, what? I was just about to run upstairs to see if I meet you somewhere. Oh my God. I am so sorry. This has never happened before. When you're bending this and digging into your heels. I am so sorry. I apologize. Okay. Like, please hold me. I typed the message and it didn't go through. Oh my God. What I can give you is Locs. That's ordered for the blood thinner. The oxycodone, I can give it to you. What number is it? Okay.
Probably like an 8.5.
Okay. So I'll give you 10 of oxy, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Here we go.
I know myself and I know my mouth. So I'm very disappointed, but I'm not saying anything. Sorry guys, this is unexcusable. Literally unexcusable. So now she's scrambling to do all the things in the world. This is terrible.
See the time. It's 2:10 in the morning. I went upstairs about 10:30.
Yeah, so I was just disgusted. So the next morning, they specifically picked a nurse for me. They were like, hey, this is going to be a nurse until you leave here because of everything that's been happening. We think that you probably need the same nurse for your whole stay. And we got a great nurse. The nurse that came in, wonderful girl, loved her. She was great. She was very hands-on. If I had to do anything, she took me places. She took me back. She made sure nobody interrupted my sleep. Nobody interrupted me, period. She made sure, like, the food that was in there was nasty, too. I think I might send, I don't know if I do videos of that. I do have a video about how nasty the sandwiches was, though. It's just, the food was just gross, but...
Okay, babe, can you open my container? I ordered a grilled cheese sandwich with bacon. So I got bacon and I got cheese on the side to figure out how to make my own grilled cheese sandwich. What's that?
Apple juice.
And where's my Italian ice? That's You got a salad?
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be like a dinner salad.
What's that in there?
It's my chicken. Why smell like?
It smell like what?
What's what?
It stank.
Take me back to Brooklyn.
Anyway, she was very great. She was amazing. While I was also in there, I had a whole thing. Should I leave this in or should I let this boy rock? I'll put it in, but I'm not gonna out him. But one of the custodians who was there was having a bad day, whatever, and he thought it was a bright idea to come to my room and vent to me because he's having a bad day. And I'm just like, this is unprofessional. This is so unprofessional, but here I am listening because now I'm a therapist, apparently. So anyhow, I need to fast forward now. That was the birthing story, right? I don't know if this is too long to make into another video about the NICU story now. So now I get discharged. I'm visiting, Sovereignty and everything. And she's starting to lose weight. So now she's going down from 5 pounds and 4 ounces to 4 pounds and 6 ounces. And they don't know why she's losing weight. She's not eating as much as she needs to. Like, she's barely eating anything. And they don't know. So do I have the capacity for this story too? I think I might. Yeah. So I go back every day. Every day she's in the NICU. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to stay in this NICU until she comes home. So I was sleeping in there. They had a place for the parents to sleep. I was sleeping in there, so I would never have to leave her. And then I would go home. I went home like on the weekend. So during this time, I'm just like, oh my gosh, she's been here. A week goes by, 2 weeks go by, we're still in there. 3 weeks go by, I'm like, why are we still here? And they're like, oh, we need to get her to a certain weight and eating a certain amount before we release her. And I'm like, okay, because the twins, Kayla was in the NICU for a month and a half, and Mackenzie, was in there for 2 months. So I'm like, okay, this is not uncommon. But like, they were like a pound and a pound and a half, a pound and a half and 2 pounds. They were super small. They were like ultra preemies. She was 5 pounds and 4 ounces. And she went down to 4 pounds, but like, what's happening? Like, she's double the size that they were. So she had a heart murmur when she was born. She has one. And the doctor said, due to her heart murmur, she just wanted to have an echo done and an EKG because she felt as though she's seen this before and she wanted to rule something out. And I was like, okay, well, what did you want to rule out? And she was like, well, let's have the testing first and then we'll go forward. So we went to testing and they found that one of her heart valves was kind of blocked. So they're like, okay, we definitely seen this before. Now let's do genetic testing. So I'm like, okay, can you guys tell me what you're seeing before and what's happening? Like, I need to know. So they're like, okay, let's do genetic testing first because we don't want to tell you that is this something. If it's not, we just need to know. So genetic testing comes back. So all of this time, this takes weeks to do. All of this time, I'm crying. I'm devastated. I'm depressed in this NICU. Like, I'm sleeping in there, so I'm not getting any sleep. All the bells and monitors are going on, but I just felt like I cannot leave my baby in here. I can't leave my baby in here. Like, she won't be forgotten about, and I can't leave her. Like, I have to make sure she's okay. Also, during that time, she actually ate the most when I fed her, so I felt an obligation to stay in that hospital to feed her myself because I wanted her to eat as much as she could and to be okay. So I got super acclimated with the nurses to a point where I was doing everything in the room. The nurses would come and check to make sure I didn't need anything. But I was doing her G-tube feeds. I was changing her diaper. I was, wiping her. I was bathing her. I was checking her temperature. If her monitor went off, I would stop it. I was fixing her cuffs. I was doing everything that the nurses were in there doing. And they didn't stop me.
City dwellers looking for inexpensive real estate. Kylie, she hates it, of course, but thanks to Zoom, her social life hasn't seemed to suffer much.
Right.
It's funny. More connected we are, less attached we are. It's gotten even lonelier since workers quit.
I thought you said you let them go.
Did I?
Yeah. You said you let them go while you were figuring things out.
Well, it was mutual. That's all. Know what I used to do for Kylie whenever she gets scared? Distraction. Come on, dance with me. Come on.
Yeah,
Come on, dance with me. Come on.
I really should go.
Come on. It's perfectly natural to be scared.
And actually, I enjoyed it because I was like, you know what? At least I'm taking care of her like I would if she was home, right? So during this time, I remember the night prior to this, I called two of my best friends and I was just like crying, like, why are we still here? They can't tell me what's happening with her. They can't tell me, you know, what the genetics testing said. It says it's going to take another 2 weeks. They can't tell me anything, but she's not eating as much as she should be. And all the babies that were smaller than her now, they're gone and new babies are in here. So I'm like, why? So I cried out to God, like, God, just tell me why. Show me why I'm still in here. You don't have to let me leave tomorrow, but I just need to know why we are still here. And the next day, they were like, oh, your genetic testing actually came back early. We're going to have the geneticist come upstairs and talk to you. So the geneticist comes upstairs and talks to me. And I actually worked in the genetics department for this hospital before, so I already knew him. But he came upstairs to share with me that Sovereignty has something called Noonan syndrome. So I never heard of Noonan syndrome in my life. And he told me, the first thing he told me is don't Google it. Because if you Google it, you're obviously going to see the worst cases possible. And they did a physical exam on her before they did the genetic testing through blood. So when the geneticist came in, was a woman, she looked at her and she was like, I don't see any abnormalities. I don't see any genetic markers on her that would allude to her having something. So let's do the blood test. So then the blood test came back that she has Noonan syndrome. So Noonan syndrome is basically a genetic condition, a genetic condition that causes poor eating, poor feeding at birth and infancy. Noonan syndrome, people with Noonan syndrome sometimes can have webbed necks where you don't really have a neck. It just kind of goes from like the back of your head to like your shoulders. So it would look like kind of like this. They are smaller in stature. And the biggest component is it typically comes with heart issues. So what they were telling me is that outwardly, she doesn't have any of the markers, but inwardly, she has all of the markers. So one of her heart valves that was obstructed was super, super tiny. And the one behind that one was also tiny. So that blood wasn't flowing in as freely as it could, which was causing her to fatigue more, which causing her to eat less. She also had a really huge heart murmur. So the first thing that they spoke to us was about the G-tube. Never knew about a G-tube in my life. And they said that she would need a G-tube, or it would be in our best interest to give her a G-tube, because if we give her a G-tube and we learn how to do it, that she can go home sooner than she would without it. So the G-tube would allow us to feed her through her stomach instead of waiting for her to catch up to eat by mouth. And my heart was just broken. I was like, you're not going to put no device in my baby? Like, there has to be another way. Like, I believe in God heavily, and we're going to pray, and she's going to eat, she's going to grow, she's going to do better. So it took me like another 2 weeks, seeing like how tired she was. She was just so small and she was exhausted, and she was trying her best. She really was. She was trying her best. I was feeding her, and then she would just fall asleep while I'm feeding. Every time I feed her, she could be wide awake, and as soon as I feed her, she just passed out. So you see like how I just fed her and she's still awake playing. She couldn't do this. And I'm just like, okay, God, like if there's another way, show me. But if not, like, okay, God. So we went through with the G-tube surgery. So she does have a G-tube here. And, you know, they're telling us that, you know, they do these surgeries, maybe 5 or 6 of them a day. And by the next day, the baby can eat through the G-tube. And a lot of babies are completely 100% G-tube fed, but she was still eating by mouth. So this is good, like to encourage her to take the bottle still and just feed her the rest through the G-tube. And the surgeries go quickly. It's like a 20-minute procedure and she'll be back in the room. Like everything is great. So we signed all the form, we did all the consent, we did all that. And she came, her surgery went. And maybe an hour after she came back to us, she didn't look good. So I'm saying to the nurses, like, why is she bloated like this? She's irritated, she's bloated, and she doesn't look the same. And they're like, oh, maybe it's just from the surgery, the anesthesia, it'll calm down. A couple hours go by, and I'm like, no, this is not right. So yeah, so I told the doctors, the nurses came in, and they contacted the surgery team who did her surgery, and the GI doctors and everybody came in. And they're like, oh yeah, like, she doesn't look good. Something's wrong. So basically what happened was during her procedure, something in the room became unsanitary and it contaminated something. And they had to do this whole huge thing to basically clean her blood and allow like she basically got an infection from the surgery room, long story short. So she had so many ultrasounds. They had to do so many ultrasounds to see the surgical gas was like left in her stomach, like additional surgical gas, a whole bunch of stuff. So as they were telling me, oh no, this is routine and everybody gets a G-tube and blah, blah, blah. It was not a routine. This set my girl back so bad. She was like so sick for 4 days. I'm in there furious and angry. Like, this was such a dumb idea. I should have never did this. Like, I could have just stayed in here with her as long as she needed to stay in here. I know it. I just had so many regrets making her get, like, you know, allowing her to get the G-tube and crying to my husband and telling him, like, maybe we did the wrong thing and all types of stuff because she got so sick from it. And we were so worried and we were so scared. I know, we were so scared. We were so scared. But after that passed, like another week. So now we're at about a month and a half in the hospital. And she's not sick anymore. She's doing better. She's gaining weight. And she is being fed through the G-tube. But now she has like severe reflux. Like severe reflux. Every time you feed her, not even 2 minutes later, it's coming out of her nose and her mouth. So they're like, oh, she just keeps having the emesis. She had another emesis. She had another emesis. She had another emesis. Like, I got so sick of the word emesis. And it was just bad. And I'm just in there with her. So I'm seeing. So it was just really bad. And then, yeah, I started to get depressed. So they had me in a room where it was like double occupancy. And the people who would come in with me, they had me kind of in like a, I'm almost at a holding cell. It felt like jail after a while. They had me in like a holding room. So this side of the room I was on was huge. And the other side was small. What they were using the small side for is if someone had a baby and the baby just needed to be in the NICU for like 24 hours, that's where the baby would be. So at first, the first person that came in, they're like, oh, congratulations, it's a beautiful boy or whatever. This is this. What do you name him? Blah, 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 blah. All this stuff. The baby's there in the NICU. And then they're like, okay, you know, whatever happened, if he ate poop or something happened while the delivery was happening, they fixed it all up. And they're like, okay, you can take your baby home now. So the first time that happened, I was like, oh, I'm so happy for them. They get to go home. 2 days later, somebody else. And I was the little girl. Oh, she's doing great. She's doing wonderful. You can go, you can take her home now. Next day, another baby. So by the 5th baby, I didn't realize how much it was actually hurting me. Because I'm like, wow, people were having their babies. They're going to the NICU for like a day. And they're taking them home. Although I'm happy for them, I'm really sad for me. Because we're still in here and they get to go. So by baby number 5, the nurse didn't know. And I'm not going to blame her for anything. But I was sitting on, you know, it was a curtain that was separating us. I was sitting in the other side. You know, Sabi was sleeping and I'm sitting there. And the people came in and they're like, okay, it was a young couple. And they actually had their baby at the hospital I was supposed to have Sabi at. So I was like, wow, how did they end up here? So just like the doctor told me, they don't have a NICU. Something went wrong with their baby at the hospital. And they had to send the baby via ambulance to this hospital for the NICU, and the parents had to drive separately. So they're over there crying and everything, and I wanted to speak to them, but I couldn't bring myself to do it. I regret it now, but I couldn't bring myself to do it at the time because I was so broken and I felt like I didn't have anything to offer anybody. But I was like, wow, like that could have been me. Like the thought of giving birth in this hospital, and now your baby is under duress, and now it has to be transported to another hospital in an ambulance that you can't even go in. You have to drive separately. I can't imagine like the anxiety and the things that would be happening in my brain and stuff, because now she still has to go to 2 hospitals, you know? So anyway, they were there for like maybe 2 days, 3 days most. But when it was time for them to go, The nurse was like, okay, your baby's all set. He's doing wonderful. He's perfect. He has no problem. He doesn't have to stay in here anymore. Like, take him home. Everything is well. All his tests came back positive. He's perfect. She just kept going on and on and on. And the more she like praised them out, he's perfect. He doesn't need any surgeries. The NICU was not for him. He just had a short stay. He doesn't need our services. He's perfect. Just take him home. Love up on your baby. Enjoy your life. I just started crying. It started slow, like just tearing up. But then I started crying, like crying so hard. So I let them leave because I didn't want, there's a duality in life. You can be happy for someone and sad for you. So I didn't want to tamper with how they're feeling with the things that I was feeling. And I'm just like, my baby has a heart condition. We've been in here for a month and a half. She needed the G-tube surgery. The surgery went wrong. She has Noonan syndrome. Like, just all the things. And I'm just like, wow, like, I didn't get to hear that. Like, nobody said that to me. They get to go home, like, and although they did get to, she got the birthing that she wanted in the other hospital, but she still ended up here. Like, there's no permanent scars from being here, So I walked over to like one of the NICU directors. I got really close with her, and I knocked on her door, and she said, come in. And as soon as she said, come in, I just bursted out in tears. And she's like, oh no, Jen, what's happening? And I was just like, I just want to take my baby home. I guess it's too much. And I'm crying and 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 crying. And she's like, what do you need right now? I was like, I don't know. I'm just depressed. Like, it was so bad, so bad. And I will mention one thing about Sabi's room is we had one little tiny window that was staring at the side of the building. So she's like, how about we change your room? And I was like, can we please? Because I'm a nature girly. I need to put my feet in grass. I need to see outside. I need to see the ocean. I need to feel wind. I need the sun. I need the sun. We call ourselves the sun goddesses, right? We need the sun. So she changed my room, and y'all. ADHD. The whole room I felt like was made. I'm gonna put a video in here. I saw the sunrise. I saw the sunset. Our situations didn't change, but what did change was my perception. And I can look at the sky and pray now. I can cry out to God and look up out the window. I can see if it was raining outside. It was snowing while we were in there. I didn't even know. I could see the snow. She was hooked up to so many wires and machines, but I was able to like carry her to a window, like, and prop her up on my arm like this so she can see outside, because she hasn't been outside this whole time. And it was so beautiful. It was so beautiful. But yeah, so after that, we were there for like another 2 weeks again, just trying to, actually I'd said that out of order. The room change happened before the G-tube happened, before the surgery happened with that. So that thing happened in the new room. So I was actually happier there because I was able to pray and cry and feel like I'm looking up at God to get us out of that hard place. So yeah, now we're at probably like day 48. We spent a total of 52 days in the NICU. So day 48, I'm just like, okay, like she's doing all the things. We changed her formula again. I'm pumping, but now my breast milk is like sparse because of all the stress with all the surgeries and everything. And yeah, now they're saying like in the future she may need open heart surgery because of the valve that's getting obstructed. It's getting obstructed a little more, but that's not going to be something that they do right away. This would be something that will happen like later down the road. So anyway, I'm just like crying out to everybody like, okay, we can go home now. We can go home now. We can go home. I went to rounds every single day. I missed one day of rounds because they rounded before I got there, and I was livid. But I was very involved in every aspect of her care there. what helped her, what didn't help her, what formulas to change to, what formulas not to change to, her PO feeding, what we need to change her volume to. I was very involved. All of her doctor's appointments, because now we had the GI team coming to look at her, the cardiac team coming to look at her. I was calling her pediatrician, letting her know like why we can't make the appointments yet because she's still in the NICU. I was very, very involved. Actually, her doctor told me that I am the most involved NICU mom that she's ever met. Like, that she's ever met. She had such a high respect for me. I'm going to put her pictures in here too. I love this lady. We were having it out in the beginning because she's very stern. But I was too, like, at the end of the day, you guys could play on somebody else's kid, but not this one. So if we're doing like, oh, let's see if it works, I'm going to consent to everything. You're not going to do anything to this baby that I'm not going to agree to, period. I'm going to be everywhere. I'm never leaving. When you think I left, I'm home, I'm here. One time she had to send me home, like, you need to go home and rest. I'm here. But I had to find a balance and go home too, because the twins also, it was hard. It was hard for our whole family. So long story short, the day she told me, oh, tomorrow you can leave, I couldn't pack that whole room up fast enough. I packed the whole room up. I got there. And when I got there, she like lost a couple ounces and she's like, you can't leave today. And I crashed out. When I tell you crashed out, I crashed out. I crashed out, sis. I was bawling. I yelled at her. I was like, you promised. Why would you promise me that we could take her home if we couldn't? It was a whole thing. She had the most amazing nurses there too. I didn't get a picture of one of them and I'm really sad about it. I wish I can contact her. But 2 nurses in particular, one was like her grandma and one was like her auntie. And it was like every time they had her, she ate good. She slept good. Like, even if I was in a room, they would say, Mom, take a nap. And I have her. Those are the only 2 nurses I trusted. Anybody else that came like, oh, I got her, Mom. No, you don't. We got her. Because I don't know you and I don't know what you're doing. Again, the NICU nurses were amazing. But these 2 in particular, I love them. Oh, and there was another nurse too. She was pregnant. Oh, she had her. I'm sure she had a baby. She was due in March. So she probably had a baby already. If not, soon. I wish I remembered her name. But she was wonderful. She was wonderful, wonderful. I trusted her too. But yeah, anyway. So her NICU grandma ended up keeping her the night after that whole thing happened. And she was like, don't worry. I'm going to make sure she gains weight tonight. Don't worry. And what are you doing? You eating the blanket? You like the furry blanket? You like it? You like it? You like it? Yes. It tickles. Yes. She gained all those ounces that she lost plus some. So we were able to go home the next day and glory, hallelujah. Glory, hallelujah. We were out of there. So yeah, that was our whole NICU story. My whole NICU journey with everything. I will say she is doing wonderful now. As of last week, she is 11 pounds and 6 ounces. Because she's preemie and she has Noonan syndrome, she's going to be on the smaller side, and she'll probably be a little petite thing, right? But as far as her premature side, her adjusted age is 3 months, so she is the size of a 3-month-old, although she is doing things that a 5-month-old would do. Because physically she's 5 months, but you know, in the hospital space, they're measuring her height and weight to a 3-month-old. Her G-tube is here, as you can see. I did get this little sticker from Etsy, so if we're going to be serious about things, let's make it cute, right? I got her name on it. And she doesn't even use this anymore. As of February 9th, we no longer need the G-tube because God is good. She did end up having open heart surgery. If you guys are interested in hearing that story, let me know down in the comments and I can tell you how that went. But she had that in January. And since then, she's been eating more. The obstruction in her heart valve is gone. This girl is a little fighter. She's been through so much in the last 5 months, right? Right? And she is the sweetest. She is happy all the time, except for when she's hungry. She is hilarious. She is so funny. And she looks like her dada, but she acts like her mama, right? Right? We are just so blessed to have her. Yes, we are blessed to have you. Yes. Good girl. Her nickname is Sabi. But I fasted and prayed for her name 3 months before she was born. And God told me to name her Sovereignty. And boy, oh boy, does she live up to this name. She has all the power and authority that God has possessed in her to fight. And she's been fighting ever since. So anyway, guys, this video was super long. It's probably, hopefully I can post it this week. Hopefully you guys can see it so it doesn't go into April and I'm still like not posting this video. But it took me a while to get to terms with the things that were happening. And I'm in love with how much I've grown and how much healing I've done. I even got tissue because I thought I was going to cry going through this story. But I see now, like, you know, hindsight is 20/20. And I'm so blessed. Our family is so blessed to have her. We love her so much. And although she's had a hard time, a hard introduction to this world, she is a fighter. She's amazing. She is a sweet, sweet baby. She's a good girl. Yes. And she has great big sisters, a loving dada. She loves her dada. And obviously the best mommy ever. So yeah, we love her. And you know, her genetic condition is not going to stop anything. It's not going to stop her life. She does have lots of appointments and lots of things that I have to keep up with. That's why my leave from YouTube was so long. And I'm trying my best, guys. But she's loved. And yeah, so also if you are a mom whose kiddo has Noonan syndrome, definitely leave it in the comments below. I would love to speak to you. I would love to build a relationship with you as well, because it was very hard for me to find support groups for Black and brown women. I joined a couple on Facebook and I just felt like it was so unrelatable. So I would love to build community around it. It is a rare genetic condition. What are you laughing at? What are you laughing at? What are you laughing at? Okay. I'm sorry. So yeah, if your little one has Noonan, definitely let me know. You don't have to be Black or brown to let me know. I'm just saying that I would love to speak to a Black or brown mom, because it seems like we are in scarcity for this. And yeah, I would welcome the friendship. So anyway, guys, like I said, this video was super long and we're gonna go, but this was our NICU story. All of it was not perfect. There were lots and lots of tears shed, lots of prayers going up to God, lots of fasting, lots of prayers. But we are here now. We are home. We are happy. We are fed. We are growing. We are beautiful. We are smart. Yes. We have mommy's lip liner on her face again. Yes, we do. Okay, guys, I will catch you in the next video. Say, mwah. 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 Later, guys. What's the matter? You want to sit up? Your hair bow's coming off. Okay. What would you like? What would you like to do? What would you like to do? Yeah? What would you like to do? Aww. Okay. You want to sit like this? Are you trying to nurse, girl? Girl, we can't nurse right now. The people are watching us.